All right, number 3, it says, which explicit rule are, so really this one should say right, but because I'm thinking of multiple choice at that time. Write an explicit rule for the nth term of the geometric sequence. So the first thing that I want you to know, and I would write on your paper, is that explicit rule means equation or formula. That's whenever they say explicit rule, remember explicit means that you can find any number. So this is the exact same thing as equation. So they want you to write a equation for the nth term. Now, also remember that this word, explicit rule, will be on your final. That's why I'm using it, so you guys can see it a few times. So hopefully you write that on. I would write that on this somewhere. So what it wants you to do, it says geometric. So you're going to look down at your geometric, and it says the nth term. So we're looking at the nth term right here. See, it says nth term geometric. So I'm going to write that formula down. It says Gn is equal to G1 times R raised to the n minus 1. So the first question to you is, what is G1? Does anybody know what G1 is? G1 is the first term. So if you guys don't know that G1 means first term, I would come on your thing and write first term above it, or G1 equals first term, however you want. But it does mean first term, so it's your 448. R, how can I find R? R is second divided by first. So we have second is your 56 divided by your 448. Put it in your calculator, math fraction, and this equals 1/8. So I put then 1/8 in there, and I have to bring down n minus 1 and my G sub n. Questions? Because it wants a formula for the nth term, you want to leave in n so that then you could find any term that you want. All right. One thing I do want to talk about is, and I didn't catch this until yesterday, but I also think you need to write this on your paper, on this paper, either front or back, wherever you want to write this. But sequence, this really should not have said sequence. This should have, or actually this one should say sequence because that's right. But the other one said series. But what is the difference between sequence and series? And this is very important because it will it'll cost you one answer if you don't have this definition. And it's a very simple thing, but it's something that you have to make sure you know. So anyways, I'll tell you that this is called, and see what you can see the difference. This right here, this set of numbers is called a series. This set of numbers is a sequence. What is the difference between this set of numbers and this set of numbers? Yep. They might be. That might be true, but that's not what I'm looking at. The addition sign is right. Now, any series can be written as your sequence. So I will tell you, and when I kind of took these from your exam, this is the ones that were messed up. These ones right here on your exam, I did find it, and I talked to the other teachers because like I said, I took the parts off the exam, and then I didn't even proof it. These, because it has a plus, should be a series. So a series is a list of numbers separated by addition signs. Sequences is a list of numbers separated by commas. Alright, so biggest thing is your series, remember, has your addition signs. Your sequences have a comma. On your exam, one of the problems, really, they want you to really know that. So I want to make sure that that's pointed out. Alright, it says now to write, number 6, it says to write in sigma notation 15, 18, 21. Is this arithmetic or geometric? How did I get from 15 to 18? From 18 to 21? I added 3. Since I added 3 each time, that would be arithmetic. So, when you want to write it in sigma notation, it's like finding an equation for the nth term. So you're looking for the nth term. Arithmetic nth term is right there. And so we have, so it says your A sub n is equal to A1 plus n minus 1 d. A1 is first term. So we have 15 plus parentheses. Your n, what does n mean? Or we're doing actually nth term, so n minus 1. And d is the difference, which is 3. N is the number of terms, but we're writing one for the nth term. So we want, because since we're writing it for the nth term, we want to leave that in because we're writing an equation. So then you would distribute. So I have 15 plus 3n minus 3. Combine like terms, I have 3n plus 12. That's your equation for the nth term. So if you put a 1 in here, you should get the first term. 1 is 3 and plus 12 is 15. So that works. So the last step is to put it in sigma notation. So it's sigma is 3n plus 12. And our numbers go from n is going to go from 1 to get the first term, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to get that last term. Yes?
Could, do you have to start at 1 or do you start at a number?
If your equation is different, you would start at a different number. Like if you could find a different equation. Yep. You just have to, the biggest thing is you just have to make sure when you put in that number that it gets that first term. And then whenever you say is your last number, that it gets every single term in there. But, yeah. Alright. Here we have write in sigma notation. How did I get from, oh, I'll just do this real quick because I already started. I'm going 7 each time. And I'm multiplying by 7 each time. So since I'm multiplying, this one is geometric. So that's just, we're going to be doing it just like number 3. So we're finding the nth term equation first. So I'm going to use that term. So it says g sub n is equal to my first term, which is 7. And I'm multiplying it then by 7 each time. So it's 7 to the n minus 1. Now you just have to put it in sigma notation. So I'm going to put that in sigma notation. 1, 2, 3, 4 now this time. So I have n equals 1 to 4. And then I have 7 times 7 to the n minus 1. And then you guys requested number 14. Number 14, it says find the sum of the geometric series. So what the first thing you have to do is you have to come back to your equations, and it's geometric, and we are finding the sum. Now the difference between these two sums is this is if you know how many terms you have, this is the sum of n terms. and this is the sum of infinite. And since it's not asking you to find the sum of the first 20 or the sum of anything, so this is the sum of the infinite. And so the first thing you want to do is find out what r is. R is always the second, which is 1078 divided by your first, 7546. Math fraction should give you 1/7. So then you simply take and put this formula. So you have S is equal to G1 over 1 minus R. So your first term is 7546, and then you have 1 minus your R, which is 1/7. I would get in the habit of just putting parentheses around that whole thing. When you put this in your calculator, make sure you put parentheses around that whole entire thing, because if you don't, it probably will not give you the right answer. Well, no, I'll tell you, it will not give you the right answer, because it's going to do order of operations. It'll do the division first and then a divide again, so it's going to give you a different number. So make sure you put parentheses around that whole thing. So put in your calculator to make sure you can get the right answer, and your answer should be 26411 over 3, or you started with 8803.6 repeating, but you want to make sure you know how to put it in fraction also. Alright, before I just begin from the beginning and go through as many problems that I can, is there any more requests that you want to really see before I start from the beginning? Yes. Number 13. Alright, it says the sum of the integers from 1 to 700. Is this arithmetic? If you are going from 1 to 700, is that arithmetic or geometric? Anybody know? You might want to write on your paper then, counting is arithmetic. So you want to go here, go to your arithmetic, and I'm finding the sum. This is the sum if I know the last term. This is the sum if I don't have the last number. But I have the last number, so I'm going to use that second one. So I'm going to use the sum of n is equal to n divided by 2 times a1 plus a sub n. N is the number of terms. So there are 700 over 2. First term is 1. Last term, this means last term, is 700. So on your paper, if you didn't know what a sub n is, I would literally write over here, a sub n equals last term. You can write on that. Make sure you put things down you don't know. So you throw this into your calculator. You should get 245350. Next question to you guys is, you want me to start on the back side or the front side? Front? Okay. 15, yep. Alright, so what is the sixth element in the 33rd row of Pascal's triangle? Just so you know, down here it says R element, nth row. So that means that your rows are on top, element is down here. So, and that's the formula I'm going to use. So it says rows, so it's 33 and 6, and that equals 33 factorial over 6 factorial, because I'm putting it in this equation right here. So we have 33 factorial over 6 factorial, and then 33 minus 6 factorial. Now, again, what do you have to do on the bottom? Before I put this in, I have to put what on the bottom? Parentheses. Want to make sure you put parentheses on that, because that will cause you to get the wrong answer. So you should get 1105 7568. And I do encourage you guys to throw that in your calculator. Make sure you know how to put that in your calculator. Without those parentheses, you won't get the right one. When you are doing 17, just so you guys know, on your quizzes, what I noticed is that a lot of you wanted to just leave it as 3 squared over, and this one 7 squared, because this is your A and this is your B. But this isn't simplified. To be simplified, to be the right answer, it should, to be all the way out, is x squared over 9 plus y squared over 49 is equal to 1. So just make sure that you always square them all the way out. All right. So number 1, find the sum of the first 20 terms of the series, because they're addition problems, or it has addition in them. So we want to find the number of the first 20, and the first thing I have to ask myself is it arithmetic? That's always your first question, arithmetic or geometric. So how did it get from 45 to 15 or 15 to 5? So and it's always going to be the multiplication, so it's divided by 3, which is the same as multiplied by a third. So it's geometric. So I want to find the sum of a geometric. So I go geometric sum, I'm using this equation. So the equation is G1 and then 1 minus Rn over 1 minus R. So we have here R is R we found is 1/3. Remember, it's your second divided by your first if we didn't know 1/3. So first number is 45. 1 minus R, which is your 1/3, raised to, oh, I did the wrong, see, now this kind of tells you too, because this, I want to do N, I'm like, N is actually, N is your 20, because you're doing the first 20 terms. And then 1 minus your 1/3. Again, what do I need on the bottom? Parentheses. And that should give you 67.5. Alright, I want you to turn to your neighbor, help wake you guys up a little bit. Just real quick, tell each other, is it arithmetic or geometric? And if it's arithmetic, what's R? If it's geometric, what is D on number 2? Yep. So I did hear it's arithmetic, but I didn't hear yet what D is. It is 7. So D is your 7. So it is arithmetic. I'm finding the sum. So arithmetic sum. So I'm using this one right here because I know actually, do I know the last term? Do you know what? Do you know what the 20th term is? No. So I am finding the sum. I don't know the last term. So I'm using this one right there. So that's my one that I am using. So it says the number of terms, which is 20, divided by 2. And then it says 2 times the first one, so my first term is 7, plus n, which is the number of terms, so that's 20, minus 1, and then d, which you guys said was 7. Throw that all into your calculator, and you should get 1470. Questions? Write out the series. Basically, all they want you to do is to literally go through and put in a 1, put in a 2. So you're going to go 4 times 1 plus 7 and get a number. And then 4 times 2 plus 7 and get a number. 4 times 3 plus 7 and get that number. And you have to do that to 5 because that's what it says, 1 to 5. And then 4 times 5 plus 7. So when you do that, you put that in your calculator, you get 11, 15, 19, 23, 27. So literally, first of all, we have writing out the series. Is that separated by commas or plus? Plus. So when you do this, when you do number 4, you want to go 11 plus 15 plus my 19 plus my 23 plus 27. I will tell you on your test and on your midterm, one will have the pluses and one will have the commas. So you want to make sure that you know that series means plus, sequences mean comma. Definitely write that down. So next we have here, all they want you to do is to put in 3. So you're going to go 3 times 2 to the 3 minus 1. Either put parentheses on that or put that in your head and go 3 minus 1 is 2 and get a number. And then do the same thing, 3 times 2 to the 4 minus 1 and get a number. And then you put a 5 in and then you put a 6 in. And those numbers you should get 12 plus 24 plus 48 plus 96. How many ways can 7 people finish the race? That means this is, does anybody know off the top of their head? 7 factorial is right. So you put 7 factorial in your calculator. 50, 40. Expansion, for sake of time, I'm not going to write out the Pascal's triangle. Now, to save time, you might want to write the Pascal's triangle on your sheet of paper. At least up to, I would say, 7. Because it'll save time for your exam and it'll save time for your test. Alright, I can guarantee you it's not going higher than 7. I'll promise you that. However, that will save you the first step and you won't have to do it and you won't like mess up on addition. So, this says that it's the 7. So I'm literally taking that 7th row and I'm taking 1 plus 7 plus 21 plus 35 plus 35 plus 21 plus 7 plus 1. And then I'm going to do my A's first, so it's A7, A6, A5, 4, A3, A2, A1, and then no A's. B0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and B7. Now, I'm going to skip number 10 for now. I am going to also tell you that I am not putting, I decided I did not put one of those on the test. I did put one that's just A and B to a number to make sure you guys know how to do it. But you guys practice this a lot, and those of you that know how to do it, you know how to do it. If you don't know, you can learn it next year. But it's not on the exam, so I took it off tomorrow's test too. But I know a lot of you know how to do it. It's just long and tedious. Number 10. Just because it's long and tedious, and I know we are short of time somewhat. 300. Factorial means 300 times 299 times 298 times 297. And since I know bottom is 297, I can stop there and leave that as the factorial. And 297 factorial. These cancel out. So in your calculator, you should multiply 300 times 299 times 298, and that gives you 26730,600. And again, if any of this goes too fast, I am YouTubing it. It will be up. So, and if I don't get through all of them, I'll try to start at a different page. All right. 12, it says to evaluate 22 over 3. Again, it's simply knowing what formulas to use. You're using this formula down here. So remember, it's the first one, so that's n, so it's n factorial. So that's 22 factorial. And then on the bottom, it says whatever your element is, so your 3 factorial, parentheses, n minus r. So it's 22 minus 3 factorial. Again, put parentheses around there. If you don't put parentheses, you're not going to get the right answer. And I can guarantee you the answer without the parentheses is on your test. Make sure you put parentheses on there, because the right and wrong answer is there. And so the right answer to this is 1540. Number 16, we have asymptotes. First thing that I want to point out is the word equation. On your quizzes, some of you didn't have like y equals. You need y equals to be an equation, or something equals. You need the equal sign to be an equation. Then you have to look here and say that hopefully you guys notice that it's something minus another x squared. So this is your equation we're looking for. Look down here, it says asymptotes. So it's y equals plus or minus b over ax. Always remember that a squared is under your x squared. So a squared is 36. B squared is under your y squared. So that's 16. So that means a is 6 and b is, what is it, class? 4. So it is b over a. So we have y equals plus or minus 4 over 6 x. And then you have to reduce. So y is equal to plus or minus 2 goes into that 2, 6 is 3x. I want everyone to take a second and tell your partner where to find the equation we're going to use to determine which one represents, is it a circle, ellipse, hyperbola? Where is that located on your paper? So I want you guys to grab this out, and I want you to find that, what you're going to be using. Everyone find where it is? So where is it located on this sheet? And next to the ellipse is right. It's right here is what we're going to be using. So, and the biggest thing that when I did the corrections of the quizzes, I noticed that some people just guessed at this point. They just guessed, but literally, all you have to do is what's in front of the x squared is a. So a is 3. Then it says in front of the xy is your b. So xyb is negative 3. C is in front of the y squared. So c is 2. Then it says to put in b squared minus 4ac. So I have b squared minus 4ac. It's negative 3 squared. Now, I'll tell you, a lot of you of the last few days have put in negative 3 squared and get negative 9, and you're okay with that. Should you be okay with that? No. Negative 3 squared, negative 3 squared is positive 9. So either A, just make it positive right away, or don't put it, or make sure you know, because I will tell you, a lot of you lately have not been putting those parentheses. Minus 4A, which is 3. C, which is your 2. You put that in your calculator, and you should get, this is 9 minus 24, so you get negative 15. If it's negative, and this is something you might want to look at, you might want to write this. If it is negative, if this is negative, it's an ellipse. So if you need to, write negative here. If it's negative, it's an ellipse. If it's positive, it's a hyperbola. So it's negative, because that's what this is saying. If that's negative, it's an ellipse. So that is an ellipse. Write an equation for the graph shown here. What is, your A is with your x-axis, so that means A is 4. 7 is equal to what? B. And remember, for equation for an ellipse is right there. X squared over A squared plus Y squared. So it is X squared over A squared, which is 16, and B squared would be 49. So X squared over 16 plus Y squared over 49 is equal to 1. I know I kind of rushed through number 17. Make sure you know your scale change. It's right here also. You're right here. An equation of your scale change under AB is this. So that is there, just so you guys know that it is there. And that was your this one right here. So you want A as your 3. Remember, A was 3 and B was your 7. So A squared is going to be 9 and B squared is 49. And because if you, think about this, if you stretch a circle, if you stretch it one way different than the other, hopefully you guys realize that it changed from a circle to an ellipse. So that's why it's going to look like the ellipse equation. All right. Number 20, write an equation for the exterior. So we have of your circle. So here, biggest thing is make sure you know that it's opposite signs. So look at, you have HK is opposite signs. So it's going to go opposite of whatever you have. So it's going to be X, instead of plus 3, it's going to be minus 3 squared, plus Y plus 5 squared is equal to your radius squared. So 15 squared is 225. 225. Now I have to do the interior. This is the equation of the circle. Now I want the exterior. So what sign do I have to change the equal to become exterior? This sign right there. So I'm going to change this sign to my exterior sign. And my last one, I actually got through all of them. Last one, A squared is 36. So that means A is 6. So it's going to go out 6. And then B squared is 4, so B is 2. So it's going to go 2. And the other thing I want you guys to try to remember is to make sure try to make a little bit of a circle. I know I'm not the greatest, but I know some of you really went like this and connected the dots like that, and you made more of a rectangle, and I did take a point off if it started looking too much like that. But biggest thing is try to make a circle, because it is not a diamond. It's your ellipse. All right. Questions? All right. Well.